We have new reports that have dropped revealing the Houston Rockets are positioning themselves for a blockbuster trade with the Phoenix Suns, of course, centered around superstar Kevin Durant. Despite all the public negotiations and the different things being said by both sides, new Suns GM Brian Gregory, as well as leaks from the Houston Rockets camps, the biggest reporters are dropping major details in regards to the Suns and Rockets positioning themselves for one of these game-changing trades. So we're going to break down everything that has come out in regards to the Houston Rockets and Phoenix Suns camps and positioning themselves for these trade negotiations, why Kevin Durant is the main star that the Rockets are going to be able to target, and what the NBA is saying about all this, how everyone is gearing up and preparing for this blockbuster trade, because frankly, this is obviously one of those game-changing moves when you have talent the level of Kevin Durant getting involved in these trade packages. So we have a lot of stuff to break down in this video, but as I've been saying, folks, we are on that mission to deliver you all of the latest Phoenix Suns news. So if you've been watching the vids and haven't been hitting the subscribe button, over 67% haven't hit the sub button just yet. If you're part of that 67% and want to stay up to date on all the latest news regarding this Phoenix Suns absolute madness this offseason, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because we're delivering daily Phoenix Suns content out here on Suns Digest. But let's dive into it because frankly, there is a lot of stuff to dive into, and a few reports. Bruce broke down some of it. We've been covering it all out here on the channel, but Shams has dropped some bombshells out there on the Phoenix Suns and Houston Rockets trade negotiations, as Shams came out and said earlier in this offseason that there's reportedly a level of mutual interest between Phoenix Suns forward Kevin Durant as well as the Houston Rockets. So this is something that has really framed a lot of the discourse, a lot of the discussions regarding the Suns, but however, we saw some things, on the Suns or on the Rockets end, about, hey, they don't really want KD, they don't want to get into the mix, and then, of course, on the Suns end, Brian Gregory's come out, I have a great relationship with Kevin Durant, he hugged me yesterday, we're tight, we're going to figure things out, we're going to do all this stuff. Well, actions speak louder than words, and a guy in Fred VanVleet who really played well during the course of this year's playoffs and said, hey, he wants a future with the Houston Rockets and stuff, rather than guaranteeing his contract for this upcoming season and making sure things go smoothly on that front. Reports came out yesterday from Shams Charania essentially revealing the Houston Rockets guard Fred VanVleet are pushing back Friday's deadline date to June 29th on his $44 million team option for the 2025-2026 season. It gives both sides additional time to navigate exercising the option versus completing a longer-term deal. So that's what Shams is coming out and saying. And again, these reports, they're all fed from the front office, from the negotiations, stuff like that. They want to get the right things said out there to the public. And while Fred VanVleet wants to stay on the Rockets long term, clearly, he had a good playoff postseason run. Fred's in a good position there with that Houston Rockets team. The Rockets have been, tied in a bunch of these trade rumors, a bunch of these trade discussions, and everything that has come out. And frankly, Fred VanVleet is a crucial piece in order to make the money work on one of these Kevin Durant trade packages. So people are pointing to this move. The actual reason behind this move is, hey, this is a ton of money, and given Fred VanVleet's stats over the course of the season, he is not expected. I mean, he wasn't super efficient, especially during the regular season, about 14 points per game. He's not going to get $40 million elsewhere. He's just not getting that for this upcoming year. I don't care how good he was out there in the playoffs. So Fred VanVleet wants that back. He wants that team option. He'll do anything to really get that for this current season. So he understands that. He understands the market and what's going on at this point. So he's saying, okay, I'll push this back. I'll play along with the Phoenix Suns, and maybe this trade happens, maybe it doesn't. I get this option picked up, and then that allows a trade to get facilitated with the Suns, who are a team that are in need of a point guard. Then these things can work out, and that's essentially what all eyes are pointing to. And we've seen a bunch of reports. I'll break down some new comments as Kendrick Perkins came out and basically declared that Kevin Durant is going to end up in a Houston Rockets uniform. They have the pieces. If I'm the Rockets, I'm going in Jabari Smith, Jalen Green, Cam Whitmore, some picks for Kevin Durant, and don't come give me a Kevin Durant and don't basically say Kevin Durant. He still has it. He still has game, which I agree with Kendrick Perkins there. I mean, 27 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. You can't argue that Kevin Durant is washed despite his age. And, some of these other players at his level that have played deep into the, their NBA careers, like LeBron James and, Steph Curry, still playing at a high level late into their careers despite injuries, despite different things that are going on. So, Perkins say he's going to end up a Houston Rocket. Went on to say that the one thing Kevin Durant will do when he gets to Houston is respect Ime Udoka, because we know that they have a great relationship. You pair him alongside Thompson twin, Şengün, Fred VanVleet. The Rockets are looking to make some noise, and that was one thing that they were missing in the series that Kevin Durant gives them, provides them closer to all the scoring that has been needed, all the stuff that we've been discussing out here in these videos. So, the reporters are coming out and saying, hey, Kevin Durant will be a Houston Rocket. The actual moves that we're seeing made by the Rockets essentially are positioning themselves to make one of these blockbuster trades. Now, Burke's coming out and saying, hey, that, they don't even need to give Fred VanVleet. And I've discussed how Fred VanVleet and Kevin Durant has a ton of respect for Fred VanVleet just after their 2019 Finals run, talked about him being a long-term player in the NBA, being an undrafted guy. Everyone should look up to Fred VanVleet. He's the type of player that we know KD likes to pick and choose the types of players around him, might try to force his way there. So if these other names are being thrown out there in these trade discussions, because Jabari Smith is one of the pieces that I think a lot of Suns fans would be interested in bringing back. 12 points per game, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, but the efficiency is very intriguing. 35% from the three-point line, 35% corner threes, but he's a big that could space the floor and is only 21 years old. He's one of the top draft picks in his NBA draft class, and frankly has shown a ton of potential. And with the Suns, could fit that two-way style of player that a lot of Suns fans are looking for. And Cam Whitmore, another guy, it's just 20 years old that hasn't gotten a ton of opportunities out there for that Houston Rockets team that, of course, have been loaded with their depth and everything that's out there on the roster. A guy that's shooting 44% out there on corner threes. Yes, he's playing a bloated position on the Suns team with D-Book, with Bradley Beal, with even like a Grayson Allen make a ton of money for this squad. So, there is that thing to factor in, but Cam Whitmore would definitely be an interesting piece. And then you attach picks to it, you attach contract and a Fred VanVleet, guy that can play point guard. I mean, it's not the worst trade package in the world. I think a lot of Suns fans, just given KD's age and where the team was at last season with the current roster as constructed as is, people weren't that hyped up. And I looked at the comment section, I looked at what everyone would say, right? People weren't that great, excited about Brad Greger. Be like, hey, I have a great relationship with Bradley Beal, KD, and all this stuff. We'll run it back. We'll get this group back in the same mix. All that's just public posturing, and everyone is expecting that this Rockets deal, especially after the Shams move, that's going to be the route, that's going to be the avenue that this team ends up going down. So basically, we'll see how things end up shaking out. Of course, it would be cool, like the ideal world, to have Kevin Durant still in the Phoenix Suns, and then you can actually build the right type of squad or right type of team around him. Maybe that's the avenue that if things fall apart, again, between now and the NBA draft, when we can expect this trade to actually happen or get some legs and get some, actual movement to it, a lot of stuff can happen. Maybe the T-Wolves flame out without a Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors loss, and they're more desperate to give up more assets. I mean, there's a lot of avenues where things can go on, but as currently standing with all the reports that have come out from Shams, from the big wigs, from the main reporters, this Rockets and Suns deal has a ton of legs. So we'll break down what's going on. We'll keep you updated with all the latest updates in regards to this Kevin Durant saga and everything along those lines. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.